And for more on the First Four, let's now welcome CBS Sports college basketball analyst, writer Chip Patterson. Chip, Michigan State, UCLA, this one went like we thought it would. It was close. It went to overtime, UCLA pulling it out. Give me your reaction on this final First Four game.
What a fantastic finish for the Bruins, a team that really struggled to close games out. This was a UCLA team that was very, very good under Mick Cronin. They suffered a couple injuries early in the season, but one of the things that continued to be a fatal flaw throughout the regular season was that the Bruins could not close a game out. And what do we see here against Michigan State in the First Four? They are better than Sparty at being able to close out in the final minutes. I mean, tremendous performance all game from Jaime Jaquez. Obviously, Johnny Juzang, the Kentucky transfer, was huge in this spot. But as a team, I just look at the Bruins, and this is a team that you fade, right? Like if you're sitting there and you're trying to think about whether or not they're going to be able to come up with the big plays in the clutch, based on everything we've seen from the regular season, this was a team that you jump on the other side of, and yet they were the ones that arrived when the moment was the biggest. Tremendous performance for UCLA given the circumstances, and great to reverse that narrative that this UCLA team is not one that can close. And on the other side, boy, this is really disappointing for Michigan State because you led by double digits. It felt like you had this game won, and you just crumbled the second half, overtime. It was just all Bruins in the crucial moments, and that's going to lead to a lot of soul searching for Tom Izzo. That's going to lead to a lot of disappointment for Spartans fans. But yeah, my biggest takeaway is going to be UCLA took something that was a consistent narrative throughout the regular season. You were not good in crunch time. You could not win close games. All that got reversed with a very big win to advance to the round of 64.
Yeah, it seemed like the pressure kind of got to Michigan State a little bit because they did have some yelling matches in the first half of this game, and then you saw what happened at halftime between the coach and Brown. So obviously the pressure was there. And for UCLA, I mean, Mick Cronin said after they lost in the tournament, the conference tournament, he said, look, we didn't play poorly. We played well. We just didn't win. And to your point, now they finally have that win and they get to move on. So I have to ask you about Johnny Juzang, because now they come up against BYU. What does it mean for them if Juzang is not good to go for them on Saturday?
Huge. I mean, he's your leading scorer going into this. And look, Jaime Jaquez, with his career high night, he only averages about less than 12 points per game going into this. Johnny Juzang is your primary offensive option. If he is not able to go against BYU, then I look right to Tiger Campbell, who is someone who does a great job of facilitating, and he did a good job in this game. Like, great key moments, getting that good assist, being able to set up somebody else. But Tiger Campbell is going to have to step up his offensive production when it comes to scoring if we don't have Johnny Juzang in the lineup, because as great as Jaime Jaquez was, and that was like epic, you know, you more than double your season average in the NCAA tournament. I mean, that is just feeling it through and through. If Juzang can't go against BYU, it is going to be on, in my opinion, Tiger Campbell, but really Cody Riley, the rest of that group to really step up, because he's their leading scorer. And if he's out of the lineup, that is a big, big problem for the Bruins, a team that has already been a little bit offensively challenged at times. They always lean on their good defense. To lose Juzang, it's going to be a lot of responsibility for a lot of players to pick up.
Okay, so then now they face BYU, whether they have Juzang or whether they don't, they're going to go in as underdogs against BYU. So when you look at that particular matchup, how do these teams stack up against one another?
So the way they stack up is pretty evenly matched. I actually think that this is a game that UCLA, if it is full strength, if Juzang can play, that they might be able to win. But man, BYU, everything we saw from them in that West Coast Conference final against Gonzaga, the way that they were able to go toe-to-toe with the undefeated best team in college basketball, kind of makes me think that the Cougars are playing on a different level. And let me add to that. And Jeremy, this is very 2021. I know that it's not often in sports media that we reference viral videos, but the fact that we've had celebrations for for negative COVID tests and the fact that we've rescued somebody from an elevator just makes me think that the vibe around this BYU basketball team is really positive right now. So I think that UCLA, after going through an overtime thriller, just an absolute dogfight against Michigan State, having to climb back from a double-digit deficit to all of a sudden meet this BYU team that has a lot of good vibes around it, it's going to be a big challenge, not only because of what BYU presents as a foe, somebody who has obviously been battle-tested going head-to-head with Gonzaga, but as somebody who seems to already be feeling themselves in Indianapolis, it's going to be a tough challenge for the Bruins.
Okay, so Michigan and Gonzaga have their first-round matchups now set. Who has more to prove to you in their opening game?
Michigan, without a doubt. The absence of Isaiah Livers is huge. In the last 2 seasons, and we've mentioned this stat a lot. You know, I've mentioned it, Larry Hartstein's mentioned it, but in the last 2 seasons, Gary Parrish is where I got it from, honestly. In the last 2 seasons, Michigan is 6-7 without Isaiah Livers, sub 500. In the last 2 seasons, when Isaiah Livers is in the lineup, they're 33-7. I mean, that is an absurd split. And yes, it is small sample size for the losses, but Isaiah Livers is your minutes leader before he went down with an injury. And I really think that the Wolverines being able to come out and flex some muscles, being able to show that they have answers and being able to show that they are not clunky and they can move and be efficient and just as fluid as they were with him in the lineup, I think that that is huge. You know, Gonzaga, they're going to be, what, more than 30-point favorites in that matchup. I kind of think we're just only going to be sweating it if you are holding a ticket on it. And Gonzaga will win that game, but how Michigan looks determines what we think about a second-round matchup. It determines what we think about the Sweet 16, because right now, when you're looking at 1 seeds and how many of them are likely to make it to the Final Four, Michigan is the first team that you're betting against, and it's because of the absence of Isaiah Livers. The Wolverines have a ton to prove in this first-round matchup.
All right, so give me your picks then here, Chip.
Okay, I do think Michigan proves it. I think that Michigan I do think that Juwan Howard is going to get this Wolverines team refocused, and they have so much talent. I mean, Hunter Dickinson can beat you up inside. Franz Wagner is fantastic. If you get good play out of Smith and Brooks, then you're absolutely toast. You're not going to be able to get anything done. I think that Michigan is going to be able to cover that big spread and be able to advance on to the second round for what I think could, again, be a very enticing matchup. And then when I look at the Gonzaga first-round matchup, you've heard me say this before. It's an old college football phrase of mine, Jeremy, but it's too many daggum points. 34? Are you kidding me? That's too many daggum points for an NCAA tournament game. Gonzaga will win. Gonzaga will win comfortably, but Gonzaga has bigger plans than beating their opponent by 34 points.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.